Hello and welcome everybody to episode 31 of HeroesHype Live. Today we're going to be talking about everything and anything Open Division playoffs, both EU and NA. Now, with me as always is my co-host Dunkstick. You're muted, by the way. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Great call out. I'd hate for all three of us to still be muted. With us today, we have the tank player from Team XD, Homie, and the offlaner for King's Gambit, Zergling. Welcome, guys. How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good to hear. Obviously, you guys have both qualified for the Crucible. That's why you're here, why I wanted you here. And today we're going to talk about, just your experience in the Open Division as a whole and in the playoffs as well. And just, I want to know more about your journey as a team. But we're going to start with EU Open Division. I know you guys might not be as familiar with them, but Dunk, you and me, let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, we had our top 8 teams, Team Singularity, Valhalla, Granite Gaming, Team Go, Terra's Razina, Worst Positioning, Manticore, and Epochs. I'm going to get it out of the way. Unfortunately for Valhalla and Manticore, only one win between the two of them, both teams being dropped out in the first 2 rounds. We saw Team Singularity go all the way in the winners finals and dropping down to the losers bracket. And we saw Granite Gaming work their way through the losers bracket. Team Go, unfortunately, falling down to Terra's Razina. Razina then following to Granite Gaming. Epunks put up a good fight, taking down Manticore, losing to Worst Positioning. Took it all the way to the 3 games against Granite, but unfortunately falling there. And leading into the loser bracket finals, it was Team Singularity versus Granite Gaming. In a 1-3 fashion, Granite did manage to overcome Team Singularity, and then in the finals, we did see Worst Positioning and Granite.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you surprised by any of the teams? Did you think there were any upsets? Personally, I thought Singularity was going to make it to at least the grand final. Obviously, they didn't make it. Granite played extremely well on Wednesday, and they put up a really good fight against Worst Positioning. I think Worst Positioning just had the number in the last couple games. So, what about you?
So Team Go beat Granite Gaming in the very first series 2-0, but then lost Team Singularity. And then Granite Gaming beat Team Singularity. So
I should point out,
in reality, our best team dropped out early. So I don't know what happened there. That was my upset.
So, what happened in the first round, Team Go and Granite Gaming? The first game was on Dragonshire, and about 18 minutes into the game, they were both 20. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the game to actually admin it, but what happened was Nape was not able to cast his Twilight Dream. It was frozen at 83 seconds left on his cooldown. And the reason for that is that he had casted the Heroic, gone into his teammate's bunker, and bunker was then void prisoned. He comes out and the ability is frozen. So we spent a good 35 minutes discussing what to do, and we ended up doing a regame. Now, it was really late in the game, so it was hard to make that decision, but it was close enough. No one had a significant edge. So did the regame, and then at the end of that, I think it was Minecraft, their mage player DC'd, and they ended up losing that game 1, and then he didn't make it back in time for game 2, so they had to forfeit, unfortunately. I'm not taking away from Team Go. Sorry. They played really well. And they put up a good fight against Singularity in the next round. And against Terraz in the losers bracket, but I think that was just an unfortunate circumstance, and I think Granite would have won that first game had the bug not happened, and looking back and watching how the team fights are going. Anyway, that's it's in the past. It happened. Granite Gaming is still going to the Crucible, so it's not like it hurt them significantly.
Yeah, and if you look at it, Granite Gaming played more games during that tournament than any other team. Two of their series went to the full best of three. Their best of five went 4 games, and the best of 7 went 5 games. Like, they played so many games to get that finish. So, congrats to them for having that endurance to take it all the way.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking forward to the Crucible, with worst positioning getting first place. What team do you think? I'm guessing they're going to probably go after leftovers, as they're, I wouldn't say significantly, but pretty easily recognized as the lowest team in the league. And I think they'll be finishing that in 8th place. But who would you guess is going to be the 7th seed and the team that Granite will be playing?
I actually don't watch a lot of EU HGC because I spend a lot of time watching the Open.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen some of the games. I typically try to catch like the Dignitas Fnatic games. I don't really watch anything else. Just looking at the bracket, it looks like we will probably see Tricked Esport fall down from the 6th to the 7th. Just looking at their streak, they've lost the last 4 in a row. Mm-hmm. Diamond Skin trying to make a comeback, winning a series. But the games aren't really over yet. We still have a few more weeks to go, I believe. Yeah. And it's really going to be up to whichever team in this bottom 3 gathers momentum by really understanding the meta as it shifts. Mm-hmm. Seeing as Leftovers is kind of so far behind, I think they're definitely going to be the number 8 seed.
Yep.
But it's really going to be dependent on which team looks like they're in better fighting shape mm-hmm. come the time for Crucible. If to put it in perspective, Granite Gaming, not Granite Gaming. Probably use NA as an example. Actually, King's Gambit coming in as I think the 7th seed. No one expected them to do so well, but as they picked up the meta and really understood it, they played so well, and that's why they are where they're at now. Mm-hmm. So kind of like this, maybe Leftovers has a complete turnaround, and they may still be the 7th seed. If they decide to win a few games, it's not going to be in your favor to pick that team that's kind of on a hot streak, even if they do fall to the Crucible.
Okay, so with that said, do you think either EU team is going to be making it into the HGC, or do you think both teams that are up for relegation will hold their spots? Having
seen both teams play, yes. I actually think EU is going to see 2 new teams in the next season.
Really?
I think that Granite Gaming and Worst Positioning have both shown to be teams that can scrap with the best of them, and they're definitely going to take their Crucible wins.
My mic is too low. I'll turn it up. Hopefully that's a bit better. I can turn my volume up too. And all right. I think one team is going to make it in. I don't know which. It really depends on how the next 3 weeks of HGC go, and seeing who ends up being in those final spots, and like how those teams are playing. But I definitely can see at least one team getting in. So, all right. Let's go on. Let's move on to NA. We'll bring Zergling and Homie into the conversation, so they actually don't just sit there bored out of their minds. Ooh, that is way out of position. Holy crap! I am sorry.
Hey, you should try to be the coach for that one team.
Live production value. Okay, that's better. So, with NA, we had XD versus Gazua, EID versus Rugeo, Aria Please versus King's Gambit, and Team Nightcare versus Trait Value to start. Gazua ended up beating XD, and similar to Granite Gaming, they had connection problems. And it was 1-1 anyway. But XD still made it to the grand final, so it's not like it cost them too much, other than like an extra game, I think. It was obviously shocking to the viewers, but in the end, I don't think it was a big deal. I think it made it easier for EID to get to the winners finals.
I believe on Twitter, Homie actually said that they had to play 5 hours of games before the grand finals, so I think it cost them a little bit.
Well, no, wasn't it like all on Wednesday? You had to just play 5 hours straight, basically.
Yeah.
Is what
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Well, it's like we had to play the loser final and then the grand finals. Like I don't like to make excuses, but I did sort of use a lot of my energy, and then I kind of griefed on the set versus King's Gambit.
Okay.
I did not play it very well, but
So we had EID win 2-1 over Rouge, and then I think the big surprise for everyone was King's Gambit beating Aria Please 2-0. Now, Aria Please was the number 2 seed coming in, and had looked very good throughout the entire season. There had been some roster changes, and the big one was Priz leaving to join the HGC, and then basically they only had 2 of the remaining members going in. So it wasn't the same unit. They didn't have the synergy there. So I wasn't as surprised. It's like seeing all the teams coming all the way through from week 1, and then King's Gambit has looked very strong the past 2 weeks, especially. So yeah, I wasn't too surprised. Trade Value did take out Nightcare 2-0. They had picked up Stray and Iacona. Iacona specifically for the playoffs. And then King's Gambit ended up beating Trade Value in the winner semis 2-0, and EID beat Gazua 2-0. Neither of those, well, actually King's Gambit, that was a tougher series, I think, than the EID Gazua. So then moving down to the losers bracket, we had XD beat Rouge. I didn't see that game. Those were both casted on the HeroesHype channel. Dunk, were you able to catch those games?
I did not get to watch every single game, unfortunately.
Okay. So, homie, tell me about that series. How did it feel against Rouge?
We had scrimmed them not too long ago, so we sort of knew what they wanted to do, and we just played our game. Like, we were feeling really good, and we just sort of, I don't want to say we dominated them, but we did pretty well against them.
It's okay. You can say freelo. It's all right. It's perfectly allowed.
We are an anti-flame stream, but a little.
You could say you sent them back to school.
Yeah, the game. The games were over pretty quick, so.
All right.
We got to recover because that was the night where Cover DC'd, so we forfeited the winners round, and then during that set, Trees also happened to DC'd after the first game, and we almost got the time limit, but thankfully he reconnected at the last second. That would have been really disappointing if.
Yeah. I heard the company that he gets his internet from had reset his router or something, or like was doing maintenance or whatever.
Well, for Cover, his internet just went out for like 15 minutes, and they were doing maintenance. But for Trees, his whole power went out.
Oh, okay.
And then just barely came back at the last second. So that was pretty fortunate. That would have been
lucky.
A really depressing way to lose.
Yeah, that'd be like, dang, we didn't even really get to see them play because they had so many issues. The big shock of day 1 was actually Nightcare knocking out Aria Please, I think. And that was 2-1, so it was definitely a close series, but it was definitely not what people expected.
Nope, not at all.
So going to day 2, XD took out Trade Value 2-0. That was a fun series. I think that was on the mainstream. And then Nightcare took out Gazua 2-0 as well. Not terribly surprising. And then we had XD take out Team Nightcare 2-0. I don't think that game was extremely close, to be honest. Or that series. I think you guys handled them pretty well. I think your drafts were solid. And just like in terms of macro game and team fighting, you guys were on top of them the whole time. So then we move on to the winners finals, where EID was playing King's Gambit, and that was honestly a lot closer than I thought it would be. Especially now looking back, seeing at how the series on Wednesday went. I did not think that EID would put up as much of a fight to King's Gambit, although I think King's Gambit underplayed in 2 of the games. Like, they weren't the same team, so.
The 2 games that we struggled on. We were messed up a little bit in drafting. It was it was a little rough waiting like 4 or 5 hours for our game to start. So we had a lot of downtime after our warm up scrims. So it was a lot of watching, a lot of waiting, and you can't really warm up that way. So like we had to start to wake up, and EIDs we played on their stronger maps that they're on, and we messed up a little bit in draft, but we cleaned it up at the end, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely like you guys didn't look like you were the same team. And I remember I was talking to Slug, and he's like, yeah, just I don't know what happened. We didn't do what we wanted to do. Things just kind of foiled. So, Game 1 you won. Game 2 and 3, that stuff happened. Game 4, I don't know what was going on with EID, but they just kind of looked scared. I'm not saying they were, just their play kind of reflected that. And you have Diablo. I don't remember their support. I think it was Alex. They had Alex, Kael'thas, and Diablo, and they just never really left their gates. It seemed to me anyway.
Yeah.
And it was just strange. I don't. What tank was Diesel playing on that Shrines game?
That was the first game that we actually got Garrosh. That was the first time that we had first pick, I believe. No, it was map pick. Either we banned out. I think we got Garrosh or we banned Garrosh that game. Hold on.
I think you had first pick. You went Garrosh first pick because then they
Yeah. We asked for first pick after Sky. Yeah. We asked for first pick, and then
Diablo, Alex.
They banned Mouth that game, I believe. I'm like pretty positive.
I don't remember. There's been so many games this week that everything's just kind of a blur.
They banned Mouth, and we banned Hanzo, and then we took Garrosh.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of dictated draft. We know Miss Hero Pool isn't that great, and we ended up banning out two of his 3 heroes, and then we took the Greymane and the Hanzo and the Tychus were banned. So we were wondering what he was going to play, and they ended up going with the Kael'thas. So I don't think Kael'thas was the hot, to be honest. And they had a very late game comp, right? Our comp was very scary with the Jaina, Garrosh, Stukov, and Greymane. So we just kind of took over the early game and snowballed it from there.
I think one very important thing to note is that I think you banned Tychus that game in the second rotation, and that was huge because I think if they had Tychus and Alex for Inferno Shrines, that would have been much tougher to beat. So compared to
a lot of teams like to play for the point control on that map, and Tychus is the go-to with Alex Straza, so might as well just take it away if we're not going to take it. There was nothing else we were really worried about, to be honest, at that point. There's nothing that was scary for us. So
Dunk, what did you think of that series?
So
you better have watched it.
I think I did. Of course I did. So watching the 4th and 5th game, knowing it was game point for EID both games, I think we just saw a little bit of choking going on. You're on that cusp of, hey, we've been working all season for this. A lot of those players like Dark Chimera, Battery, they've been playing in the HeroesHype series for months now. This all they've been planning on is Crucible, HGC. It's that focus, and like they were so close, and I feel like the only way I can describe it is they choked. They had the series, and they're on the cusp of it, and it just didn't. Like you said, they started playing scared because they're playing not to lose, and when you get in that mindset, I just don't see how you win. Like you're no longer playing to win; you're playing not to lose. But that's how you lose. It's kind of like this catch-22, and it's good on King's Gambit. They saw what was happening and they capitalized on it. They ended up closing out both games. And then we saw EID fall down and get 3-0'd by XD. I just think they were crushed. Like they were so close already, and then they were crushed, and they just didn't rebound like they should have. So,
yeah, I think mentally they were drained after that. Even though they had that day break, it's still like you're this close to winning, and then you're just like, damn. So, anyway, go ahead.
I was gonna give props to XD for drafting the way they did versus EID. I felt like they outdrafted them every game, and I felt like they recognized like what they were gonna go. They were well prepared for EID.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I know before we did like 2 hours worth of prepos for them, and then that's probably another reason why we got absolutely stomped by you guys was because we spent all our time prepping on E80, and then we get to you guys, and then we're just like, all right, I don't know if they play Avatar or not, but we'll just ban it anyway.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And then Kevin is on Jaina every game, Diesel's on Garrosh every game, and then we just get stomped.
I will say that Zergling plays a pretty mean Abathur, so it's not a bad ban. I think we've seen it once, but it was really good. So yeah, going to the finals, the final day, I should say. After watching and working through all of Europe that day, going 4 games and 5 games, 5. I don't remember. It was kind of, I don't know. As a viewer, it was nice to just have sweeps both ways, but I'm sure it wasn't as good for you guys as players because obviously you want to win, and you're just getting swept, or it's really nice because then you sweep the team. Anyway, I think all of the games were extremely exciting. I'm proud as an NA player and a viewer that you guys will be representing us in the Crucible from the Open Division, and I'm really excited for, I think it's like 3 or 4 weeks from now that you guys will be playing. So, with that said, I want to shift focus towards you guys in particular and your teams. So.
Oh wait, we didn't want to talk about the 4-0? Oh, my bad. I made all this prep for nothing.
Okay, fine. Fine. Whatever.
Dunk wants to talk.
Just do me like that. Whatever. Dunk, why don't you pick up the papers and talk about it? I'll give you the floor. I'll make it Dunk's ring or something. I don't know. I'll give you a little section here, okay? Okay. Are you gonna do it or no? Or are you just gonna keep laughing?
Oh, I'm dying right now. No, actually, homie already said it all. You know, Kevin played Jada, and then Diesel played Garrosh. I think Garrosh finally didn't make it through in the 3rd game, but it was like too late. It was the end of the night. You know, you're 4.5 hours in. It's like we could play another 4 games, or we could call it a night.
Yeah, I know. I spent all my energy on the first set, and then after I'm like, we already made it in a Crucible, you know, this is no big deal. If we beat him, we beat him, but it's whatever. So I didn't play with nearly as much vigor as the previous set.
Yeah.
You know, the previous set, I feel like I played pretty well, but then that set, I actually had like 8 or something deaths the first game, and that's just, ooh.
Mm-hmm. I remember last night, Kala had messaged me after you guys fell down 3-0, and he's like, Argy, in this situation, as EA or as XD, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm preparing for Crucible here. It's not as much as you want to win. I don't know if you want to put yourself through that, even though you're already going to go to the Crucible. So.
Yeah, obviously we still wanted to win, but like, I was just pretty spent. Like, my drafts were bad, my play was bad. It's just not good, but you know, we didn't sweat it at all. We just say, you know, this set doesn't mean that much. You know, they get to choose, but it's whatever. We're still making it in. We just prepare for the next set, just sort of sleep it off.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Crucible's number 1 priority. So
yeah, for sure.
They prepared for the test, but they weren't ready for extra credit. So
they aced the test.
They did ace the test.
So Dunk, is that all you wanted to say? You made
there wasn't really much to say. It was.
You just wanted to give me crap? Okay.
I did just want to give you crap. Okay. Going into it, the Crucible, and I know they're not going to want to say anything because you don't want to kind of give away, oh, what are you thinking about? Who are you thinking about playing? Because you don't want to give these HGC bottom of the standing teams chances to figure out what you're doing. You know, don't want to give them any more time than you need to. My prediction is that King's Gambit is going to pick LFM, and XD is going to have to face No Tomorrow. I believe No Tomorrow is the current running champions for Crucible. I think that's the meme.
Naventic doesn't exist anymore, so yeah.
Well, they beat Even to Death the first part of Phase 1, And then phase 2, it was Lag Force, also known as the Ventic, and Even a Death. So technically it's Lag Force, but
They're not around anymore.
yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of I think, as much as I love people in No Tomorrow, I think they're going to end up finishing 8th. And LFM will be 7th. So I think those are the 2 teams going to the Crucible. I don't know who you guys are going to pick. I don't know what you think. I mean, I've heard some things. I'm not going to talk about them here, but I think both teams have a decent shot at making it into the Crucible or into the HTC. With that said, I'm now going to shift focus to the teams themselves, if that's okay with you, Dunk. If not, you can just leave. So, circling, I want to start with you. Okay. I have a couple questions that I really want to know the answer to. Uh-huh. And the first one is, now you were on, was it NA LOL? Was that the team that you were on before?
Yes, NA LOL was my first team that I started the Open with.
Okay, so coming from that team, moving to King's Gambit, what was that transition like for you? And how well do you think you and I think was Diesel on NA LOL too, or was he just brought in with you?
So the story was I never wanted to play Open at all, and one of my close friends, Dan Clan, wanted me to try it out with some buddies, and it ended up becoming more than I wanted it to be, but I enjoyed it. I ended up doing NA LOL for a little bit, and then I ended up going to a team called Protected by the Way with Diesel and a few others, and then that only lasted for a couple weeks. And it was kind of a transition period. I was kind of looking around for different teams, and then I've been friends with Kevin and Toby for a while now because I've known them for a while, and I knew Droplets, and I ended up talking to him, and they were looking for a replacement for a melee flex, and their tank was kind of wishy-washy at the time, and Diesel, I thought, had a lot of promise. He was a raw tank player, and we had to put a lot of work in, so I brought Diesel with me, and I came in with the Ebros and Droplets, which is pretty much what the team's known as. And then from there, it was trying to figure out with each other, synergizing with each other, Kevin used to run the team, and then I kind of took over all the drafting and the shot calling and stuff like that. And we kind of ran my kind of style for the team, and it ended up working out pretty well in the short time that we had. And Diesel has been improving at a insane rate, and he's keep on improving. So it's working out pretty well.
I heard that it wasn't too long ago that he didn't know that Anoob's E slowed. No flame.
He doesn't read talents. One day he came up to me and he was like, "I finished Perfect Storm, or the Q quest on Murden faster than Perfect Storm. Why is Perfect Storm only 20 stacks?" And I was like, "Do you read it?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You get 3 stacks if you get a killing blow with it within so many seconds." He's like, "Oh, that's not a bug." And I was like, "Yeah, you're a Murden player." So we give him crap about that, but he learns really quick, so it's really nice having him as our tank.
Nice. Yeah, he's definitely looked strong, especially on Garrosh. I think his Joe's been pretty swell too. I don't think I've seen him much on Tyrael or Diablo. I'm a little surprised by that, but obviously you might be working on it for Crucible. Who knows?
One tank at a time. One tank at a time.
Obviously, it's going to be the Crucible teams are going to be studying you, so you're going to have more than just Garrosh. So,
true.
Last thing from me, anyway, I'll move it over to Dunk after this. But the casters, at least Colin and Jake, have always been saying that, where did this team come from? What is going on that is suddenly made them so good when for the first several weeks they were just kind of a mediocre top 8 team? What is the secret to your success? What do you think has made you so good?
So King's Gambit had a different roster originally until we joined them, so they were kind of under the radar. And I know they were doing different things. And I know the Ebros specifically, especially Toby, because he's a god support and he never misses a cleanse ever. He subs for a lot of HCC teams. So they were just kind of just subbing for HCC teams. They were looking to go competitive, but they didn't really have the right roster. They weren't sure what to do. And then as soon as I joined them, like we had to figure out the synergy and stuff like that. And then once we figured out our synergy and getting better, we started scrimming better teams. We started scrimming the lower HCC teams. We started learning a lot and putting a lot of work and a lot of preparing in the draft, the meta and stuff like that, and scouting different teams. And I felt like a majority of the time, I hopefully feel like I win draft. And sometimes I feel like I can learn a lot when I don't win draft. But a majority of the time, I want to put us in the best situation to play against other teams. So I think it's really nice as like also being a shot caller and like, you know, the macro and the drafting and stuff like that. Kevin does a really good job of co-shot calling too in the four-man because I'm not there. I obviously can't make the little micromanaged decisions. And Diesel's also stepped up and drop us understands rotations, and the team's just starting to feel more like a unit, and it's working really well.
It's good to hear. I mean, it's definitely. I guess the saying is the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding was week 7 in the playoffs. So obviously it's done wonders for you guys. So Dunk, what do you have for Zergling? What do you got?
Yeah, no, we talked about it a little bit in the pre-podcast talk. Do you think? I need to think of a better way to put this. So I'm actually going to bounce to Homie instead and ask him a question because I'm curious about something.
We can go back to Zergling.
Yeah, we're going to come back to Zergling.
All right.
Homie, on your team, you have Tiger JK, Talking Trees, Covered, and Tori, obviously. There's a lot of personality on that team. How are your guys' comms in game? Because I have a limited amount of experience dealing with these players. But from what I know, you know, they're pretty strong-headed. So,
I mean, it's actually pretty fun. All of us are like really funny, really cheery. We joke all the time, but obviously we'll be serious when it's in game. We'll like in tournament we'll be 100% serious, but if it's like a less serious games like scrims or whatever, we'll just be joking around, whatever. We'll say what to do and then just keep back to joking around or whatever. And Trees is the main shot caller. I'll like call little stuff. Especially now since I'm the tank, but I like call like when to go camps, where to go, when to look for kill, etc. And I mean, for the most part though, everyone is branches pretty well. Trees is probably the one that talks the most in the game, and you know, Notori is fairly silent. Cover occasionally like recommends plays. You know, we'll go with it or we won't go with it. But yeah, it's pretty. Probably the best environment I've ever had.
Okay.
And we had pretty much no problems at all. It's actually great. I love it.
That's good to hear.
and you know, that leads kind of, and you mentioned a little bit, it's in my next question. How has the transition to tank been?
I played tank for the later. Actually, when I first started playing competitive about 2 years ago, I was originally a tank player just because at that point I mainly just played Hero League and I played pretty much everything. And what Nesper, he was the one who originally picked me up. What he said he needed was a tank, so I decided to try it out. I was not very good, but I tried to improve a lot, and then I eventually switched to melee back on the old EID roster with me, Lutano, How, Battery, and Frozen. I played that for a while, and then towards the end of the HGC phase, I switched back to tank for a role swap, and I feel like I learned it pretty quickly. I got the basics down, just when to anchor, when to not take free damage, etc. And it's actually felt pretty good. I obviously prefer melee. I think the heroes are a lot more fun, but what's a lot more fun is winning, and we needed a tank player, so just let me play tank instead.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Dunk, do you have anything else?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
Zergling, we all have a mutual friend in Milk and Cookies, and you know he talks a lot of smack. I get whispers from him all the time.
Is that putting it lightly?
That's putting it very lightly.
He's in the chat right now.
Yeah,
I'm not going to ask his question. I'll ask his question later. But do you think his sagely advice has had a helpful impact on the team when he does pop in to say hi?
Yes. I've been friends with Barco for a long time now, and he is the analyst for Team 12, and he does all their statistics and stuff like that. He used to be my coach for NA LOL until they stole him from me, so feels bad, man.
Dang.
But as personal friends, he would offer some advice and stuff like that, and downtime between that, he would try to help out whenever he can. He helped. I think his words. He's a pretty blunt guy overall. So when he talks about something, you just want to listen, and he kind of wakes you up.
Mhm.
So I think that helps a lot with like drafting and stuff, because sometimes you worry about too many things in draft and you deter from the draft, and then you mess up your draft, your original plan, and he usually keeps you in track with that kind of stuff. So that's about it for him, I think.
All right.
He overall it's been a really positive impact with him being there, because like now since he's with Team 12 majority of the time, like I had to take all the stuff that I learned from him, and basically now me and Kevin are like the most have the most knowledge, and we try to spread that knowledge down to Diesel and try to bring him up to speed with us, because this is his first ever competitive season ever. So he's never done this before, so he's learning.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Right. I have. It's kind of a long question, but it's one question for you, homie. So coming into the season, into week 1, you and SMV were considered the top 2, with you slightly behind them. I wouldn't call it much of it. Well, it was kind of an upset when you took them out in week 1, and then going down the road, there was some drama that happened. We don't need to really get into it, but what I really want to know is, now that Jin has transitioned to No Tomorrow, what was the team atmosphere like, and how did that adjustment go when you had to replace him?
It was pretty rough, mainly because we started out originally looking for other tank players. That didn't exactly work out. So finally we just said, just let me tank. I've done it before. So we tried it out. It went pretty well. And I mean, it sucks not having him. It was pretty rough. He was a fun dude to play with. But, he had a better opportunity on No Tomorrow, so he took it. Getting an HGC immediately, that's pretty good. So I guess he wanted to take that. And now I think we're might not be as good as we were before, just because I'm probably not that good at tank right now as I'd like to be. But I still think we're doing really well. And considering we've only had me on tank and been with Tiger for less than a week, I think we have like a lot of room to improve. So I think we could do pretty well. And I'm hoping I can finally win Crucible for the first time. I'm going to be in all 3 at this point. So hopefully I don't lose all 3 of them. But
Well, let's hope. It'd be really cool to see both teams win, I think.
Last podcast, I did say that XD was going to be one of the 2 teams going to the Crucibles. So
You did say that.
called it.
All right. Well, with that, I think it's time to close out. So I'm going to move on to shout-outs for everyone. So, Zergling, let's start with you. And holy crap, that is... I forgot to resize everything. Because I was going from a 3-person overlay to a 4-person, and I just forgot. Anyway, it's good now. But, Zergling, let's start with you. Shout-outs.
I'm gonna give a big shout out to Dang Clan, one of my good buddies of mine, getting me into the scene. Barcode helping me out, and a big shout out to everyone that supported me, especially King's Gambit, welcoming me in with their team, with Diesel, and how everyone has a positive outlook on my team. No one really tilts, no one's toxic, and just a big shout out to all my supporters and everyone else that's involved in helping get me where I am today.
Awesome. Homie, let's toss it over to you. What do you got?
big shout out to my team. They've just been awesome. Everyone's cool. Everyone's helping each other out. Shout out to Crunchies. He came in and started coaching us like maybe a month or 2 ago. He's been really helpful. He's also a really fun guy to play with. And also shout out to Lutano. He's helping me out a lot too. This is my first time starting to draft and stuff, so he's helping me a lot with that. Yeah.
Nice. Dunk, my dude. What do you got? What do you got?
My dude. Yo, shout out to everybody that supports us week by week. So glad to be here. Heroes Hype, bringing it to us. For those of you that don't know, I will be present at Dorms on May 11th. So feel free to say hi. I'm pretty sure Argy will be there too. So, we'll be hanging out.
Yep.
Come on over, say hi. You can follow me down below at Dunkstick on Twitter or on Twitch. And I stream Monday through Wednesday, so feel free to check out the stream. Toss me a follow. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, it's been a great week. End of the playoffs. Some great games, some great series.
Yeah.
Really glad that I could be a part of the last few months. So
cool. Well, I'm going to keep it short. Shout out to the teams that played, making the Open Division incredibly fun to watch. This year has been a lot better than I think the previous two splits combined, and I'm really happy that we got to do that. And shout out to everyone else in HeroesHype along with me that has worked on this. I think, at least the feedback that I've gotten is that we have made the experience for the players much better than last year, and I'm really happy with how it's all gone. So, also, I forgot again, Dunk. I forgot to change my Twitter on the freaking overlay. It is Argy Hots. It's the same as my Twitch. Make sure to follow both of them. I have emotes done. They are finally done. It's only been a year since I got affiliate. Only been a year. And they should be hopefully live soon. But I have them in my possession now. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. And we will see you next phase for more Open Division.